We adore and worship Yahweh, the only one. We don't adore ancestral spirits. We don't worship idols of animals, trees, stones, the sun, the stars, or the moon, which Yahweh has made.
Okay, we're going to go over the book, The Untold Story Revised Edition, and this is written by Edgar Shaw. We're going to start with the first subtitle here, and it's entitled The Expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal. In the year AD 1492, January the 2nd, the Moorish stronghold of Granada surrendered to the armies of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. For the first time since the year 711, all of Spain was in Christian hands. The decree to expel the Jews from Spain was signed on March 31st. In one of the corridors of the great Alhambra, the palace of the Moorish kings of Granada, the motive given for the expulsion of the Jews was that it was conceived that they corrupted the Marranos. This was done by privately encouraging them in disloyalty to Christianity. The ultimatum given to the Jews elapsed or expired August 1st, 1492. Professor Alan H. Godbey says that the last Jewish king was overruled in Ghana, terminated in 1492. In order to satisfy Queen Isabella of Spain, King Manuel of Portugal declared a royal ordinance expelling the Jews and Moors from his country. It says the Jews who were expelled from Spain and Portugal were scattered throughout the Mediterranean coast. It is estimated that over 100,000 Jews departed from Spain and Portugal during the persecutions and expulsions. Some of these Jews went to northern and western Africa. These black Jews would innocently go to African countries, most of all because of the less persecution, and they could semblance themselves easily among black. R.H.M. Elves gives a vivid description of the Portuguese Jew. Baruch Spinoza, middle-sized, good features, skin somewhat black, black curly hair, long eyebrows of the same color, so that one might know by his looks that he was a descendant from the Portuguese Jews. When the Jews were expelled from Spain, about 100,000 entered Portugal. So 100,000 of these Jews from Spain entered into Portugal by the admission of King John II. It says they were allowed to enter under the condition that they pay the poll tax, with that sense that they would leave the country within 8 months. Also at this time the king beholden himself to take the Jews wherever they desired at the completion of 8 months. When the time elapsed, many Jews were stranded because the king did not provide enough ships in time. As a result, all the black Jews who were left behind were deprived of their freedom and sold into slavery. During the reign of King John II, or actually Jao II or John II, 700 black Hebrew children were ruthlessly taken away from their parents in Portugal and transported to the island of Saint Torme off the west coast of Africa. This island is situated, its location is near Nigeria, Cameroon, and Gabon. Alan H. Godbey says that the Portuguese founded the island of Saint Tomé in 1471. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to establish themselves on the west African coast. They came first as merchants, and secondly as conquerors and slavers. With the influx of 10,000 of black Jews from Spain and Portugal seeking refuge in African ports, Morocco received a great share. In Morocco, there was a revival of Moorish and Jewish science in all areas. The Hebrew Academy in Fez, which is in Morocco, competed with the one in Caroun, in Algeria. There was many debates and lectures between the sages and the scholars of these schools. Eldad, The Danite, a Hebrew from the Jewish kingdom of Ghana, visited these schools in the 9th century. Black Jews went to Portuguese colonial possessions in Western Africa, which were Guinea, San Tome Island, Senegal, Angola, and a few islands near the African coast. Throughout the persecutions in Portugal, thousands of Jews left the country. The Jews were leaving the country in such massive numbers that in 1499 and in 1531 the kings published a law forbidding the new Christians, which were the black Jews, from leaving Portugal without special permits. Cecil Roth wrote that Christian Jews immigrating to the Portuguese colony of Angola in West Africa were agents of the Inquisition and were sent to ferret them out in 1612. It says, "It is certain that many black Jews of Portugal, San Tome, and Angola, who became victims of the Inquisition and Portuguese persecutions, were sold into the slave trade." This Atlantic slave trade lasted more than 400 years, from 1444 to about 1880, in various parts of South America. Some scholars have located black Jews within the whole Niger River Bend. The countries in this territory have contained black African Jews, including the following: Upper Volta, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, Dahomey,